Good morning, children. Today we are going to study about the pancreatic juice, which helps in digestion and is secreted by the whitish gland called pancreas. And these pancreas, they are located behind the stomach. The pancreatic duct opens into the duodenum, that is the first part of the small intestine, by an aperture common to that of bile duct. So the pancreatic juice is poured by the pancreatic duct and the bile juice by the bile duct, and both these ducts open into a common duct, and this duct opens into the duodenum. And the pancreatic juice contains three kinds of enzymes: amylopsin, that is pancreatic amylase, digests the leftover starch into maltose. So amylopsin, it digests the leftover starch into maltose, and trypsin, it acts on the remaining proteins and polypeptides, and it reacts on the remaining proteins and the polypeptides to produce smaller peptides and amino acids. So smaller peptides and amino acids, they are produced as a result of the breakdown of the proteins and the polypeptides. And this is done by the trypsin. And this trypsin is first secreted in inactive form, that is trypsinogen, and this trypsinogen is activated or is converted into active trypsin by enterokinase. So the enzyme enterokinase converts the inactive trypsinogen into active trypsin, and this active trypsin then reacts with the proteins and the peptides to form smaller peptides and amino acids. And the starch which was still left undigested is converted by amylase into maltose. And stepsin is the third enzyme, and this enzyme, it acts on the emulsified fats to split them into fatty acid and glycerol. So this is how the enzymes which are secreted by the pancreatic juice act on the food. Next is the intestinal juice. So first, the small intestine, it secreted bile. Then second, pancreatic juice, and the walls of the it is not the small intestine which secretes, actually the bile and the pancreatic juice, they are brought to the small intestine by the bile duct and the pancreatic duct. And the intestinal juice is secreted by the walls of the intestine. And this intestinal juice contains erepsin, and this erepsin, it converts the peptides into amino acids. And another enzyme called maltase, it converts maltose into glucose. And third enzyme, sucrase, converts sucrose into glucose and fructose. And lactase, it converts lactose into glucose and galactose. And the lipase, it acts on emulsified fats to convert it into fatty acid and glycerol. So in this way, the food is digested in the small intestine. Now, after the digestion, the food is converted into simple diffusible form and is absorbed by the small intestine. And how it is done? The final products of the food are mainly absorbed in the intestine itself. The amino acids and the simple sugars, that is glucose, fructose, galactose, have relatively small sized molecules which are absorbed through the thin epithelium of the villi and reach their blood capillaries to finally enter into the blood circulation. So the food which was converted into simple sugars and amino acids, they are absorbed through the thin epithelium of the villi and reach the blood capillaries to finally enter the blood circulation and first to reach the liver through hepatic portal vein. And the food, that is the amino acids and the simple sugars which are formed, they are first carried to the liver by hepatic portal vein. And the fatty acid and glycerol are absorbed into the lymph vessels or lectins. We had done that the villi are supplied with the blood capillaries, that is the arteries. They break up into capillaries and then the veins are formed, and the hepatic portal vein carries the blood from the intestine to the liver, and the lectins are the blood lymph vessels. So the fatty acid and glycerol is absorbed into the lymph vessels to enter the lymphatic system, and this lymphatic system forms a network all over the body to ultimately enter its contents into the bloodstream. So this lymphatic system also, it supplies the contents to all the parts of the body, and finally it opens into the bloodstream or pours its contents into the bloodstream. Then the food passes very slowly through the intestine, taking about 4 hours to enter the last part, which is large intestine. So food passes very slowly through the intestine and it takes nearly 4 hours to enter into the last part, that is the large intestine. And the large intestine is about 1.5 meters long, and it has 3 parts: cecum, colon and rectum. First one, cecum, it is small blind pouch situated at the junction of the small and the large intestine. So it is a small blind pouch which is located at the junction of the small and the large intestine. Here, if you see, this end he is talking of, and it is at the junction of small and the large intestine. So this blind end is called cecum. And from its blind end projects a narrow worm-shaped tube called vermiform appendix. When inflamed, it causes appendicitis, and today it is functionless. That is, it is a vestigial organ. So this cecum, it is produced into vermiform appendix, and this vermiform appendix, when it gets swollen, it results in the pain of appendicitis. Otherwise, it is a vestigial organ. Vestigial organ, no more functional in human. Then colon, it is very much broad than the ileum and is a little more than a meter long, and it passes up the abdomen on the right and then ascending colon and crosses to the left just below the stomach, transverse colon, and down on the left side, that is descending colon. So first it goes up, so it is called ascending colon, then moves to the side, that is transverse colon, and then descends down or moves downward, it is called the descending colon. And last part is the rectum, and about 15 centimeters long, which opens at the anus, and the anus has sphincter muscle to keep it closed except when passing bowels. So last part of the alimentary canal, that is the rectum, it is about 15 centimeters and it leads to the outside by an opening called anus, and this anus is guarded by a sphincter muscle which opens only while passing out the bowels. So this is about the digestion and absorption of food.